Ethereum predictions based on the Ethereum Astrology. Here we go. None of this is financial or investment advice. Welcome. I'm Jack. I'm an engineer going crypto astrologer. On this channel, I combine technical analysis with astrology. Ignore the spam bots in the comments below and watch this video all the way to the end so you can get the Ethereum predictions. Smash the like button and let's just dive in, shall we, to the August general astrology. Well, on August 8th, we do have Mars opposing Saturn and Neptune. Typically, this can be really negative energy. I talked about this on my previous video with the Bitcoin astrology for the month of August. So if you haven't already checked that out, definitely go to my channel and check out the Bitcoin astrology for the month of August, as Bitcoin is the top dog in crypto and moves the markets. And when Bitcoin does well, the altcoins can do well as well if the Bitcoin dominance falls. But August 8th, so we have this, major astrology. Mars is a malefic planet known as a malefic. Saturn is also known as a malefic. And so this, typically would be really negative and could dump the markets. We're already seeing a dump in the markets, a little rebound today. But the good news is around the same time, August 8th, we have Mars also trining Uranus. So this is actually really good that we have this, because the same planet Mars is making that positive trine to Uranus, which is the planet of technology, which includes crypto. So there's a possibility that, crypto could still be doing decently well. It doesn't mean we're not going to have a correction. It's certainly possible. Can't count that out. But it's really good that right after August 8th, we're getting this positive, really positive astrology. Then on the 10th, we also get Mars trining Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of wealth. August 11th, we get Mercury. Mercury goes direct, so we could have a positive market shift in the positive direction. As we have had Mercury retrograde since late July, and that has translated to a dump in the markets, a correction, I'll say. We then have on the same day, August 11th, which gives even more of an indicator that after August 11th, things could get really good. Venus is conjuncting Jupiter. Venus, the planet of money, love, and what we value, conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion, which could be very good. August 11th, also, we have Saturn sextiling Uranus, the planet of technology and crypto. August 15th, we have Mercury sextiling Mars, and we will definitely take that as well. So a lot of positive aspects here, which is really good. And it continues through August. August 25th, Venus is trining Saturn, Venus is sextiling Uranus and trining Neptune. August 27th, Venus is opposing Pluto, slight negative. August 28th, Uranus is sextiling Neptune. So this is all very good. Well, most of it. And then let's dive into the Ethereum astrology for August. That's what we do on this channel. We look into the astrology. So August 10th, we have Jupiter opposing the Ethereum Pluto. And this could bring an explosive move. Jupiter is a very benefic planet opposing that Pluto. Typically Jupiter can bring expansion, but with his opposition energy, it can bring kind of this tension energy, this really kind of intense energy. And so I'm not sure if that's positive or negative, but it's interesting that, around the same time, August 8th, we were getting this negative Mars opposite Saturn. So it just seems like there's this really intense energy from around August 8th to August 10th. Which I'm just saying it could bring an explosive move here. And August 24th, we have Saturn trining the Ethereum progressing Mars, and that's overall positive. And I wanted to dive a lot deeper here, guys, because the Ethereum ETFs went live last year, and including BlackRock and all these huge companies. And I wanted to look at the astrology for the Ethereum ETFs as well, which I've never done before. So let's dive in. You guys excited? You excited as I am? So we're looking at the August EETH ETF astrology. Now this was the, what's the company called? I'm kind of blanking on the company's name. But August 13th, this is basically one of the first ETFs. August 13th, with this astrology, we're getting Jupiter sextiling the EETH Jupiter. That's positive. So, around that August 8th to through 10th turning point where we're getting more of that positive astrology. That looks pretty good. August 24th and August 24th all the way to September 18th, we're getting Uranus squaring the Ethereum EETH Saturn, which is not so good. So September is not looking so great with that. But then I wanted to dive even deeper. And so we're looking at also the ETHA BlackRock, which is an Ethereum ETF. Now this could be very, very significant, as you know, these are the big companies that move lots and lots of money. So we have August 8th, Neptune sextiling the ETHA Mars. Slight positive there. But August 11th, we're getting this, once again around this August, 11th. Well, now it's August 8th through August 11th. We're getting these really intense Pluto transits. Pluto opposing the ETHA progressing sun. So that could once again bring a major market shift. Could bring an explosive move. I mean, typically this would be negative. Let's see, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because we have August 11th, we have Uranus sextiling the ETHA sun. Uranus, the planet of technology and crypto. This is very, very positive. Sextiling the ETHA sun. The sun is a very sensitive area on the chart. So we're getting these 3 transits, August 11th through August 12th, to the ETHA sun. We're getting, and then, it gets more positive on the 12th, Saturn trining the ETHA sun. And then after that, it just continues to be positive. Jupiter sextiling the ETH ascendant, Saturn sextiling the ETHA Pluto, Pluto trining the ETHA Mars. But then check this out. September 3rd, Saturn conjunct the ETHA Neptune, which I'd say is very negative, because Saturn can be a malefic planet. Especially when it conjuncts Neptune. And Neptune is a planet, I mean, in a financial astrology, Neptune can bring a lot of confusion in the markets. Markets don't like confusion. Saturn can bring contractions and tough lessons in reality. And it's in orb starting August 19th to September 17th. So heading into September just looks quite negative. And we're also getting a total lunar eclipse, which can be very negative for crypto. Typically, historically. So this is very interesting. Now let's take a look at the charts, shall we? We're going to be taking a look at the Ethereum chart, of course, on the weekly scale. But let's take a look at the blue vertical lines. Those are the total lunar eclipses. Okay, now let's be very specific. This is just not any lunar eclipse. These are the total lunar eclipses. So that's when the Earth is exactly between the sun and the moon, okay? So this happens every few years, but it's happening twice this year. Some years it happens 3 times. So we had it once in March. I warned you guys about that earlier this year, and look at what happened. We got this huge dump. If we take a look at this here, I mean, look what Ethereum did. It 84 days before that total lunar eclipse, it started dumping, and it continued to dump a little bit after the eclipse. So far, though, this is really interesting. This is one of the few times in history that Ethereum has been having a major pump, getting very close to this total lunar eclipse coming up on September 8th. And, we are about a little more than a month away, and we are even getting a little pump right now. So Ethereum's showing a lot of strength heading into this total lunar eclipse. It's tough to say when the next correction is, but, I was saying August 8th through the 11th, we could get a major market shift. So could that be in the positive or negative direction? It's difficult to say, but it's interesting that the second half of August is looking really good, at least astrologically. Now, astrology is not 100% accurate, so it never guarantees that we're going to be going up, say, the second half of August. It doesn't guarantee that, but it's just showing that the astrology is in our favor for having a strong second half of August. September, we'll have to talk about that when the time comes. So definitely subscribe so you can also get my September astrology update. It's going to be very critical. Could be a very intense month, September as well. Now take a look at these past blue vertical lines. These are the total lunar eclipses in 2022, 2021. Typically they're very bearish. So, you know, typically we get big corrections and bear markets. But if we look back in 2021, as many people know, that was a very bullish time. But we did get, let's see, we got very close. Ethereum got very close to this total lunar eclipse and had a peak here. Let me just move this down. So about 14 days before that total lunar eclipse, Ethereum peaked out. So it got very close, but it did have a major dump. I mean, look at this red candle right there. Huge red candle. A week before that total lunar eclipse, got a big dump. And the Ethereum, you know, was creating a bottom here for many weeks, many weeks, couple months before heading back up. So be aware of that possibility. And if we go back further in history, you know, we had 3 total lunar eclipses in 2018, bear market. And Ethereum, gosh, I can't even, let's move this down. So Ethereum peaked about 21 days before that total lunar eclipse right there. And let's zoom in. Okay, so Ethereum, so 21 days before, we're getting closer and closer to that. That does not necessarily mean that that's going to be the end of the bull run, though. I mean, that is the really unique thing that's going on right now in this market. Is, you know, if you take a look at this, like Ethereum peaked and had its all-time high before the first total lunar eclipse in 2018, and then that was a bear market after that. But you know, and it just kept going down, down, down. The major unique thing about today is that Ethereum has not made its new all-time high yet. Still hasn't made its new all-time high. So, you know, typically we would get an all-time high before the total lunar eclipse in March. We got a peak. We only got to 4,100. And then it just had a massive dump, as I predicted back earlier in the year in February, January. But then this has really never happened before, where we're getting a massive pump heading into getting really close to this next total lunar eclipse, the second total lunar eclipse. So according to this, I mean, it looks like we're not heading into a bear market for one of the few times ever. So yeah, it's not exactly following exactly what history did. Similarly to what Bitcoin, I mean, if you look at Bitcoin historically, we get bear markets during these total lunar eclipses. Even all the way back in 2014, we got a bear market with the blue lines. Now, the one time, at least for Bitcoin, Ethereum didn't even exist back then, is we got these 2 total lunar eclipses in 2010, 2011. And this is one of the only times that Bitcoin was pumping into these total lunar eclipses. And it actually got a peak just 7 days before the total lunar eclipse. So if that were the case, then the markets could peak around really the last day of August or September 1st, let's say. But all of this is really speculation, really tricky to predict. But in that case, yeah, that would bring us to about September 1, and we could have a peak there. So yeah, very tricky. But the question is, you know, is Ethereum going to have a peak? And I would say a local peak. I don't think we're heading into a bear market because, I mean, Ethereum hasn't even made a new all-time high. So unless it makes a massive move and we go up to like $8,000 Ethereum in the next few weeks, then I would be concerned and I'd probably be selling. But, you know, if we take the total lunar eclipse and we bring it back 21 days, that would bring us to August 18th, potential peak. It's also made a peak 42 days from there. So it also had a peak on July 28th there. Is that the local peak? It's tricky. We can talk more about that. But if it goes just 7 days up to before the total lunar eclipse, that's September 1st. So that's possible. We could get a peak around then. If we go to the last total lunar eclipse, this brings us, it actually peaked 88 days before that total lunar eclipse. If it did the same thing, we've already it's already proved that that's not going to happen. It did get a local peak there, but man, the fact that we've gotten this massive move heading into a total lunar eclipse shows that we could just bust right through this total lunar eclipse, without a bear market. It's certainly looking like that, because the total market cap is only just breaking through to a new all-time high. It's only just getting started, arguably. Does that mean we couldn't see a correction? No, we certainly could. Certainly could see a healthy correction. But it's just not looking like we're heading into a bear market at this point, because we also haven't seen peak euphoria. We're not in extreme greed. And also the crypto apps, typically Coinbase, gets in the top 5 when we're getting really frothy in the market and when retail's jumping in, which can market peaks. Coinbase is still ranked just like 14 in the finance category. So still not in the top 5 there. We're not getting that peak euphoria like we typically do at peaks in the market. So that's good news. It means that, crypto could absolutely continue, perhaps through the end of the year, and maybe even through next year, at least Q1. So good news is potentially a lot more upside to go, which I'm actually really grateful for. Now, if we look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, this was interesting here. So, this is the reason that so many people were bearish on Ethereum, is we've just been going ever since really like August of 3 years ago. That's wild. 3 years ago, Ethereum has just been going down, 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 down versus Bitcoin. So Ethereum valued in Bitcoin has just been going down, 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 and all the way till April 21st, really, of this year. And finally, we're starting to show some strength with Ethereum. And this is why there's a lot of excitement coming back into the markets for some. And, so it's interesting. We have this pattern where we've headed off that bottom. We've corrected, healthy correction, and then we've gotten a massive move up again. And now what's going to happen next after that? So I was looking back at the last time Ethereum bottomed versus Bitcoin in the previous bull market beginning. Really, the altcoin run was right around here. And what happened, Ethereum did kind of a similar pattern where it went up and then it corrected back down. And then it had another move, a second major move up right there. And then what happened after that, let's zoom in. What happened after that is it actually had a big correction down. And then it went up, then another correction, and then a really big move up after that, see? So if we did something like that again, we could look something like this, and I drew it out here. All right, so that's one potential price action we could see with Ethereum, at least versus Bitcoin, because, if we look at kind of these levels right here, Ethereum has not come back to test these levels. So it's certainly possible. It's not guaranteed. We could also see a scenario like this where we still haven't peaked out. Let me move this. We could also just head a bunch further up like that. And then from that scenario, we could correct from there and then do something more like this. Yeah, so that's also a possibility. So it's tricky to say. It all depends on if, what happens in August here. So if we do get a strong August, second half of August, and Ethereum outperforms, we get another altcoin run likely. Ethereum's probably going to lead the altcoins though. So that's an important thing to note, is Ethereum usually outperforms altcoins in the beginning and then altcoins catch up later. So that's the question, are we going to head up from here in August, or is August going to be more bearish And we're going to do something more like this. It's very tricky to predict. I think a lot of it depends on what's going to happen in the next week, honestly. This is a big week coming up here. We're going to have the Trump tariffs update, I think, on August 7th. He extended the deadline, I believe, to August 7th. So a lot of volatility then. And let's dive back into the charts here. Go here. Or dive into the presentation. So these are the two scenarios that I was talking about. Yeah, so either we are going to go down from here and Ethereum might correct back down to like 2,800 or something like that, or we're going to continue back up in August and we're going to head much higher to around like 4,500, something like that. Maybe even make a new all-time high. So it's we'll talk more about which scenario we could get. Now here is the Ethereum total percent returns historically. This is really valuable data here. If we look at the previous years, you know, on the left here, previous years, August, you know, the last 3 years, we got red months. So Ethereum was down in August. But in the bull market of 2020, 2021, Ethereum got green. Whoops, let me go back again. Very bullish in a bull market. 2019, 2018, not so good. 2017, it got 96% move up. That was wild. But I mean, the fact that the last 3 years, you know, as Ethereum was dumping versus Bitcoin, we've gotten red months for August. There is a chance, it's not guaranteed, but there's a chance maybe this year we could get a green month for August. Now it's tricky because July we already had a 51% move up for Ethereum. That was really bullish month. The most bullish month we've had since 2022. But the averages for August is 5.83%, which is lower than July at 11.9%. But still, historically, August, more often than not, we get a positive August. So the fact that the astrology is looking good, at least, especially the second half of August, maybe we could have another move up. It's certainly possible. I wanted to show you this chart. This is really interesting. The 20-year averages for the S&P. Now I have to find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is really valuable. This is from Jason at TIA. So big fan of what Jason and Michael are doing. So this is the red line is the 20-year averages for the S&P 500. Now, the crypto markets follow the S&P 500 very closely. I've talked a lot about this in the past. We've proved it. Doesn't follow it exactly, but it's very closely. You know, when we had this huge tariff dump for the S&P 500, for the macro markets, crypto dumped very much as well. And altcoins just got absolutely destroyed, smashed during that time. And now we've headed back up. But if we look at the red line, it is, you know, the last 20 years averages, it does have a potential correction in August. So that's really interesting. That shows that we could have more downside in August. And if the S&P 500 goes down in August, could definitely affect crypto and especially altcoins. But there's also a chance that crypto is front running the S&P 500. It's the what's that bird called? That bird in the coal mine. I forgot what it's called. And so crypto could be already, you know, the fact that we've already gotten a major dump. Well, not a major, but somewhat of a correction especially with altcoins and with Bitcoin, is that the canary in the coal mine. Which is front running that the S&P 500 could get a further dump, certainly possible. And could crypto hold up a little bit more strong in the second half of August? I think so, because we're getting such positive astrology. But on top of that, I mean, the fact that we're heading right into a total lunar eclipse, that's also concerning. So, I mean, the fact that this is showing a correction in August, but look at this. So it's a correction in August and then a move up. So there's kind of what which is correlating very closely with the astrology. You know, is that the second half of August, we could get this big move up here. Now, it's not like a move up into new all-time highs necessarily, although I'm not counting that out because, you know, when the S&P 500 goes up that much, maybe that's like 3%, 5%, that could make a big move up for crypto. But then the big concern is that look at how far down it goes in September. Massive move down, the 20-year averages for the S&P 500. Huge move down heading into really all throughout September. So that lines up really well with the total lunar eclipse that we're getting and then the solar eclipse. Now, it's not a total solar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. But the solar eclipse also is not looking great for the financial markets. And then it shows a bottoming out formation in October before a huge move up. So just looking at this, it shows that, you know, we could have a dump, maybe a further dump in August, then a pump up in August, then a big dump in September, bottoming out and moving up in October, November. So if we just go off of averages, that could show new all-time highs probably in November, which we've gotten new all-time highs for crypto in November in multiple bull markets in 2021. And we got massive moves in 2017 in November as well for crypto. So that correlates. We're seeing a lot of interesting correlations there. Trump tariffs again, August 7th, we could get new announcements for the tariffs. Could be more volatility. Tough to say which direction. If it's negative news with higher tariffs, then we could get a big dump. But if it's positive news, if he releases some of the tariffs, then that could actually be a huge positive for markets, and markets could go on a big run up. So we could have major volatility August 7th. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. If you're liking what you're hearing here, if you're liking my vibes, please smash that subscribe button. Support the channel. It's one of the number one things you can do to support this channel. It helps the algorithm. It gets this video out to more people. All right, thanks so much. And a quick announcement is the Crypto Astro Bali Retreat. We already had the first sign up last month. The first sign up got the epic full pay deal on this retreat. It's happening November 1st through 7th, 2025. This is a transformational retreat for crypto investors. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Join me in the Paradise Island of Bali. And I'm running this retreat because at the end of 2025, like I was saying, in November, it could be one of the biggest crypto bull runs in history. Possibly. At least in November, it's looking really good. You know, all our favorite altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'd say pretty likely Ethereum is going to have a new all-time high by then. And this retreat is perfectly timed for you to maximize your profits towards the market peak. How many of you were in previous bull markets? You were holding your crypto all the way to the end of, let's say, 2021. And what was everybody saying back then? Everybody was saying, oh, this is going to be an extended cycle. Just keep holding, never sell your crypto. And then what happened? We got a massive dump. Huge dump in the markets, and we lost all of our profits. So we do not want that to happen again. We don't want to fall for that. We don't want to lose our hard-earned money. We don't want to make any major mistakes. So this will be perfectly timed retreat experience in paradise to maximize your profits, to at least create a solid profit-taking strategy so that you can achieve your goals. All right, so spaces are limited for this retreat. Register now to claim your spot. All you got to do is go to the link below, click the link below. And after your deposit, you can schedule a one-on-one private peak profit session with me. This is a one-on-one call where we'll dive in deep into your specific goals. Each individual is totally unique and different with what their goals are, what their risk tolerance is, and what their strategy should be to make the most of this crypto bull run. So you'll have a one-on-one session with me. It's going to be super powerful. It's super valuable. Definitely jump on this as soon as possible. All right. The Ethereum predictions, the moment you've been waiting for. So major volatility to start the month. We've already been getting this major volatility. We got a correction here. I'd say a healthy correction. So nothing to worry about much, in my opinion. A very healthy correction. Like I was saying, we're likely going to get a big market shift around August. I would say August 8th through 11th. Give or take a few days. Astrology is not 100% accurate, but we're getting those major transits, opposing transits with Pluto, which can bring very explosive moves. Pluto is a very intense planet. It could bring a dump or a major pump. A lot of it, I know everybody wants me to give you just a crystal clear prediction of like, this is exactly what we're going to go up 50% at this exact price. Guys, I cannot tell the future. If I could, we would all be billionaires and trillionaires, wouldn't we be? So, we got to be level-headed. We got to be realistic. But the good news, second half of August is looking positive. A lot of it depends on what's going to happen this next week. And I like to simply wait and see. I do have a little bit of cash. I'm mostly in the market. If we do get further dumps, I'll probably be buying. And then if we get a major move up in August, definitely going to be taking some profits because we're heading into that quite bearish month of September where we're getting a total lunar eclipse and things are looking very tricky and sketchy for September. But then the end of the year, things are looking amazing. All right, so share this video if you got value from this. Share it with someone who would benefit from it. Obviously, someone who is a crypto holder and believes in astrology. Thank you so much, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I just got back from this amazing retreat in Mount Shasta. Super amazing. Maybe someday I'll run my own retreat there because I got to explore the most amazing trails and nature and spiritual places for meditation and really connecting with amazing energies out there, and had an amazing time. We had a rainbow on our final day. It was, just amazing and memorable. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. Let's see if we have any comments really quick. Yes, we do. Someone wants me to look at JTO. Well, if Solana does well, then JTO will do super well. Solana astrology is looking looking quite good for this month. But a lot of it depends on what the macro markets are going to do. Thank you very much. I'm calling 500K end of year for Bitcoin. Attention 10K Ethereum for the end of 2025. That will be the top of this cycle. I think that's a little overly optimistic there, but we'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe you're right. We can chill, enjoy the summer, and let November top bring all the joy in the world. Absolutely. Let's just be patient, guys. Be patient. Don't worry about these little tiny corrections. It's not a big deal. Zoom out and let's look at the long game. The long game leads us to things looking very, very good at the end of the year. All we got to do is wait a few more months, guys. It's not that long. Hey, Morningstar, how are you? Yes. Should I play the Morningstar song? Yes, I think I should. I should just play it, shouldn't I? We haven't played this song in a while. I made this with one of the members in my private group. Let's just do it here. I think this should work with the audio. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Morning Star. I don't know. It sounds like there could be a good song about Morning Star. Morning Star, the Morning Star. Tune into the Morning Star. The Morning Star, the Morning Star. Tune into the Morning Star. Morning Star, the Morning Star. Tune into the Morning Star. Question from Natasha. Do you think there will be much time for an alt season, as in the past it seems to have taken about 6 months? Yes, we absolutely have enough time for an alt season. We still haven't seen peak euphoria. Absolutely, there's still time. It could be even more explosive if the altcoin run only lasts a few months. You're very welcome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll just let the music take us out. Morning star, the morning star. Tune into the morning star. Morning star, the morning star. Tune into the morning star. Morning star, the morning star. Tune into the morning star. Morning star, the morning star. Tune into the morning star. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.